but for some reason when I heard that word, I could just picture her on her back on the arm of the settee, like laughing and joking, probably with her legs ajar, just, you know, come to me and come inside me. Hello guys, welcome. I'm so sorry this week's episode is late and I missed a week last week, so I can only apologise. It's probably not even that big a deal for you, but for me it's a huge deal. I feel like I haven't spoken to you for ages. I feel completely out of the loop of life whenever I miss episodes, so yeah, I'm very sorry. But life has been busy. If you follow me on Instagram at @SadieMoppy, you'll know I was in Canada, New York for genuinely one of the best trips of my life. Oh my god, I absolutely loved it. I actually vlogged the whole thing, so that's going to come on my YouTube, so keep an eye out for that. I'm going to get that out this week. And yes, I was on holiday, kind of in my own holiday bubble, so I missed a week then, and I've moved flats again. So if you've been round since day one, this actually is my 4th flat since I started the podcast. It's my 4th flat in like 2 years or something crazy, right? I move a lot, not out of my own choice. Anyway, had to move out of my own flat, which I loved, yeah. And we secured this flat. I had a blind offer on this flat without even viewing it. I had a blind offer on it in the check-in queue to my holiday in Gatwick Airport, and we won it. And yeah, so basically I was on holidays. The day I came back, the day after I came back, so I came back and I couldn't see the flat then. So the day after I came back, I viewed the flat for the first time, and then we had to move in a day later. So it's been absolutely wild. I haven't even got furniture, I haven't got a settee. So yeah, if you're watching this on YouTube, then you'll know I'm recording it just on a little chair with a whole mess around me. But anyway, the most important thing is I'm back, so thank you for tuning in again. Thank you for still being here. And as always, let's get straight into it. I had been with my boyfriend for about 2 years and I was absolutely besotted with him. We met when we had both just moved to a new city, didn't know anybody, and we fell fast, becoming very codependent on each other. For the first year of our relationship, we did everything together. He had been suffering from serious confidence and anxiety issues, which I helped him overcome. That's very good. Constantly trying to build him up. Things started to change in the 2nd year of our relationship. Coincidentally, probably after his anxiety had gone and after he'd been built up, but let's see. He started to pull away, wanting to spend more time with the boys that he was now living with, which I was more than happy for. It was great that he had a friendship group he was confident with, and it meant I could spend time building my own female friendships. However, it got to a point where he would never ask me to go over to his house or hang out with him. He had no interest in seeing me, and when I did ask to go over, we would sit in the living room with all of these boys rather than spending any time together alone. I started to feel very dejected, questioning what I had done or was doing wrong, whilst not wanting to push him away by demanding more of his time. I could see and feel what was happening right in front of me and was fighting so hard to play it cool, keep him happy, whilst desperately trying to save my relationship. I think that part is sad because, like she said, she knows what was happening. But I think when you're in that situation, nobody wants to see him desperate or sad. It's like, your boyfriend and girlfriend, you're owed time together. Like, he should be making the effort to spend time with you. So that's really not a big ask, because that's one of the main points of being in a relationship, is actually spending time with the other person. But there's always a thing where you feel like very needy, asking for your bare rights, basically, your basic rights. And just asking, not even that, but asking for something that is going to make you feel better. So just listening to this, I think my advice, and I think this girl's advice would be as well, if anyone is in that position, don't wait around and worry that you're going to push somebody away, because realistically they're moving away anyway. Because if somebody doesn't want to spend time with you, there's a reason for it, and you bringing it up isn't going to make the situation any worse. The only thing it's going to do is maybe give you an answer and maybe make the relationship a bit better. So you might as well cut your losses, cut the ego, cut what you think they're going to think of you, and just say, look, can we have a chat? We've been in a relationship for a while and I notice it's different. You obviously do as well. What's happening? Just gotta have the chat, because honestly, life is too short to be worried what other people, especially your partner who should love you regardless, life is too short to worry what they think of you. That's where I'm at today. Okay. Throughout this year, when things were slowly and painfully breaking down, we were living on the same street a few doors apart from one another, which I'm sorry, there's really no excuse for not wanting to see somebody when you live a street away. You're not talking like you live in London or somebody lives in Cardiff and you live in the valleys. Like, there's no strong commute due. If you can't make the effort to see me and you live 2 doors away, I'm sorry, I'm going to need some answers. I'm going to need some answers and to be single, by the looks of it. There was another house a few doors down from him on the other side with a group of girls who I sort of knew from nights out, etc. Often when I would swing by my boyfriend's house to try and see him, a sad emphasis on the word try there, one girl in particular would always be there. We know where this is going. I'm sad to say, we probably know where this is going. She would be hanging out with the boys, giggling, draped over their furniture. I don't know why I think that word so funny, like draped. Like, I could just picture her, for some reason when I heard that word, I could just picture her on her back, on the arm of the settee, like laughing and joking, probably with her legs ajar, just, you know, come to me and come inside me. I found it so uncomfortable as these boys had made it quite clear I wasn't hugely welcome. And there's a plural boys there, and I'm not sure why the housemates have to get involved. None of their business. But here they all were, fawning over this girl because she laughed at all of their jokes. I see, my boyfriend included. I try and join in when she was there, but nobody would look my way. In fact, when my boyfriend would look at me, his smile would almost immediately drop. I remember very particularly the way that she would say his name. I had the worst feeling in my gut and decided to bring it up to my boyfriend, who told me that I had nothing to worry about and they were just friends. I had the worst feeling in my gut and decided to bring it up to my boyfriend, who told me that I had nothing to worry about and they were just friends. This continued for weeks, and every time I brought it up, I was shot down to the point where he started to get angry with me, so I stopped. One evening, I asked if I could stay over his house, and he told me that he was having a boys' night. I woke up the following morning having bled. As I was young, I went into panic mode and went to the GP. I mean, hopefully you're okay. Hopefully this was just a period and you were young and panicked. I went to the GP, calling and texting him to come with me, but his phone was off. While sitting in the doctor's office, I looked on Facebook to see that the girl had uploaded a load of photos taken the night before at my boyfriend's house of her and all of the boys, including my boyfriend. Can I just say thank God for Facebook at that time, because if you were around, and if you're my age, you probably are if you're listening to this podcast, you'll remember Facebook was a time where there was no Instagram. You didn't just upload one of your very best pictures and everything to be aesthetically pleasing. You just used to slam on 50 photos from the night out. None of them were edited. It didn't matter who was in them, where you were. You just used to like literally just put them all on, tag everyone. I mean, the dirt that must have come out from those Facebook days for some people, because there was no hiding. Nobody cared. Nobody even cared what they looked like in the photos, which actually was quite a nice time. It didn't really matter if you looked a mess. It'd kind of be a joke, even though it'd be on the internet, whereas now, somebody uploads a bad picture of you on Instagram, it's like social suicide, like people go into panic mode, and oh my God. What a time, guys, how times changed. Okay, anyway, I was so livid. I typed out a message to him so many times, torn between wanting to flip out and play it cool, as I had promised I wouldn't bring it up again. This is what annoys me about this stuff, right? And we've all been in these situations where he's quite clearly doing something wrong, but he's convinced you so much that he's not, that it's made you feel bad for saying something. And this is like what I wanted to try and say, that if something's on your mind, just bring it up. There's honestly no point wasting time afraid of what it's going to do, what they're going to think of it, because the other person is doing what they're doing regardless, as I said, and you bring it up, it might make it worse for them, but it can't make it any worse for you. Like, she's livid and she's still like, oh, but I can't be angry because I said I wouldn't bring up with him. When you actually like take a step back, it's crazy, but when you're in it, everybody feels the same way. But it needs to stop. We need to just be like, this is on my mind, fuck you if you're gonna get angry. You've made me feel a certain way and you need to know about it. Okay, so she goes to type out the message. I don't think she sent anything, she doesn't say. She just says, eventually he woke up and was really apologetic for missing my calls. And when I asked him about the photos, he said she came around unannounced. He was so caring and sweet that day, I thought everything was fine. I now realise it was guilt. Not fun. I had asked to meet up with him one Saturday, but he said he was super busy with work stuff, so couldn't meet up with me. I was lying in bed watching Netflix when my housemate walked into my room and froze and said, oh, there was a little grassy hill outside our house, the top of which was directly in front of my bedroom window. I sit up, look outside, and my boyfriend and this girl are sat on a hill outside my window. I'm sorry? Why are people like this? You just know, and I'm not one for being a girl hater, I'm really, really not, but you just know that that was the girl's idea. You just know, because boys are dumb, they don't think anything through, and you just know that the girl has done that. I would honestly, I didn't even know these people, and I would put money on it. I would actually put money on it. My hard-earned cash that I've got very little left of after this fat move and my trip to IKEA yesterday, and I would still bet that it was her idea. Why though? Were the Facebook photos not enough for you? Was the album around my boyfriend's house on the internet not enough for you that you now need to sit outside my bedroom window? I mean, what is wrong with this guy? Honestly, such low quality. They're obviously flirting. Sorry, this is her now, not me. I'm acting as if I'm there, I was not. They're obviously flirting, pushing each other, etc. I put on my best dress, do my makeup, and go outside to join them, love it, whilst fuming, written in capitals. It was so incredibly awkward. He could tell exactly what I was doing, and she probably could too. Now what this reminds me of, do you remember Rosie? She's Welsh, she's up by, from where I'm from. Do you remember when she was on Love Island and her and Adam Collard, I think she was with, like had a breakup, and then she got dressed in her best outfit and she went out and took loads of pictures? That's what this reminds me of. I love it. It was so incredibly awkward. He could tell exactly what I was doing, and she probably could too. Anyway, I mean, well done though, because I don't think I could do that. I would probably see him be filming, but I don't think I would go up to them. So well done you for doing that. That takes balls. Anyway, a few days later, he tells me that he's not happy, thinks it might be work stress, so is going to get this big project out of the way and then reassess how he feels. Do you know, I did read a thing, I mean this was on TikTok, I can't remember the source, but I did read a thing before where people, if they start to be unhappy in relationships, any type of relationship, they will say 9 times out of 10 that they got something on in work. I mean, don't take this as gospel if your partner's come home and been like, I've got so much on at work, I just need like 2 days by myself. Obviously that happens, but yeah, I read on TikTok before that that's kind of the first thing people go to when they want space. And it might not even be a lie, they might just feel like they can't handle stuff and they think it must be work, and then they take a step back. Okay. Obviously I should have bloody left at that point, but was still hopelessly in love with him and now crippled with self-confidence issues over what this girl had that I didn't anymore. That breaks my heart, because we must remember it's never got anything to do with the other person. Like, this is about the guy. If there was any issue with you, he would have just broken up with you there and then. Like, to keep you going along and doing whatever he's doing is always a reflection on him. Like, I always will firmly believe that. The night that his project finished, he had a house party. He hadn't reached out to me for a few days, so I decided to not approach him until he approached me. At the party, he pulls me into his bedroom as I haven't spoken to him. Absolute classic. As soon as there's no contact, they always come crawling back. I'm about to answer, finally alone with my boyfriend after weeks, when the girl walks in. She sits on the floor and stares at us. I'm sorry, my temper could never. I don't know what words I'm going to use to describe myself, so I'm not going to. But I can be calm and, kind, and I'm not like a big fighter and argumentative person. But something like that would flip me over the edge. And I think I would lose. I think I'd be like, what are you doing? Why are you so... I don't know though, I say all this. It's easy to say this when I'm reading it from the phone. I'd probably do the same thing and walk out, because that's what she says. She says, I'm going to stop my story there. He says nothing, sits in silence, and so I walk out. Yeah, I realised as I was about to say that story that I've got no examples to be like, one time I told this girl, the only person actually, sorry this is a segue, that I have been rude to and I've been feeling really guilty over it. I literally said to Matt the other day, I was like, 2 days after I sent this woman an email, I'm not going to name her, let's call her Pauline. I literally was like making breakfast, this is 2 days later, and I was like, oh, was I rude to Pauline the other day? He's like, no. So basically I'm in the middle of a moving out and they're trying to charge us £100 for scuffs on the wall that were already there. And oh my god, this woman must think I am a bitch. She's probably the only person that's seen me annoyed for the last, I don't know how long. Ah, poor Pauline. Anyway, sorry this is probably confusing for you. I'm gonna go back to the story. So he says nothing, she walks out. He breaks up with me the next day and swears it has nothing to do with her. Alright, mate. I am absolutely hysterical, heartbroken, sobbing on the stairs. To make matters so much worse, he still lived a few doors down from me, as did she. About 2 days later, I see on Facebook that she's broken up with her boyfriend. Plot twist. Did I forget to mention she had a boyfriend this whole time? Yes, you did. Wow. Wow, a double entendre. I don't even know if that's the right word, but double blow, double scandal. I struggled to get over him and still had this horrible feeling in the pit of my stomach about them. I knew his Facebook password, so I'd log onto his account every night and watch him message his friends backwards and forwards in live time, including her. Oh my word. They were messaging almost constantly. Oh my god, how you sat there and watched that? I don't know. I think I would vomit. Wow, that's quite masochistic or sadistic. That's wow. We do crazy shit when we go through breakups. It's like when people read through old messages and stuff, knowing that it's gonna hurt you, but we still do it. Okay, they were messaging almost constantly, but nothing was ever said that could prove my feelings. About a month after we broke up, I found a message he'd sent a friend catching him up. In the message, he called me, oh no, the most atrocious names, commenting on my personality and my looks. Oh, you disgusting person. Completely degrading anything good that we ever had. He talked about how he was days away from sleeping with a much younger workmate. I'm sorry, you're in uni. Much younger workmate? What? Says in brackets, who I also had bad vibes about. And finally, the piece de resistance, he discussed how he had cheated on me with the girl. Oh, well, I mean, congrats for getting what you wanted, Detective DSI. But the thing that just gets me more than the cheating, anything, is why do you have to call her names and calling out your personality and looks, which is utter bullshit, because you literally were with this person. And do you know what? No, you said, or she said at first, that he had anxiety and like low self-esteem issues and you helped build him up. They probably never really went, because nobody talks about another person like this unless they're feeling really shit about themselves. He's obviously feeling guilty and he can't deal with himself, so he's just trying to pull somebody else down and justify it, like, oh yeah, but she's this and she's that. Obviously not meaning it, because you literally were with this person. If you thought a person was that disgusting and that bad a personality, what does that say about you to be in a relationship with them? So it's absolute bullshit. I can see right through it, but oh my god, if you'd found that and your boyfriend said that, like, that is just so heartbreaking. Not even just a boyfriend, but a friend or anything. And do we have to go for the looks and personality? Just go for one. It would be one thing if somebody said my personality was shit, but to double bam me with the looks as well, like, pick one to ruin my life for, you know? Pick one thing to break my heart. Not all two plus the affair. Oh, what an awful person. Jesus Christ. If I thought the relationship was devastating and painful, I was in for a treat. I felt like my world was crashing down, because not only was my heart breaking all over again, but I was filled with such rage that I had been right all along and he had gaslit me over and over again. I tried to call him and he didn't answer, so I just sent him a text saying, I know. Oh my god, the drama. He didn't call me until that night, by which point all of my pain had turned to anger and I gave him the biggest, nastiest bollocking over the phone. Well done. He was absolutely riddled with guilt, said the message to his friend was a joke and the way they spoke, etc. Well, who's laughing, mate? Not me, not you, not your friend. Who's laughing? Dickhead. It took me a long time to get over it, but not long after I met a lovely kind, in brackets, fit with a massive dick. Winning. There's no better rebound than somebody hot with a good dick. So you won there. Who helped me see what a waste of life that relationship had been. Or a waste of my life, sorry, that relationship had been. About a year after the breakup, I bumped into one of my ex's housemates in town and he asked if I wanted to grab a pint. He told me so much more about how my ex and the girl's relationship developed, including how the boys hated it as they could see what was happening and could see... Do you know what? Sorry, this tells me that when they were like ignoring her gaze, it was guilt. They could see how desperately I was trying to save us. He said my ex would sneak her into the house and lock her in his room whilst he cooked dinner. How once, the day after we broke up, oh my word, I popped over to grab some of my stuff from the kitchen and his housemate leant against the door frame into the house, blocking my view because my ex is lying on the sofa with this girl. Oh, bless you. Oh, I think that's really sweet that he did that. I mean, too little too late probably, but no, I do appreciate that. That's nice. He's always going to have to back his friends. Now, I can't actually believe he's telling you all this, to be fair. I forgave them for what they did. My housemates, however, spent the next year glaring at them if she ever saw them. My ex and the girl were a couple within a month of us breaking up, and we were together. And we're together for a few years. Nowadays, her and I occasionally reply to one another's Instagram stories. Oh, I wasn't expecting that, which feels like an olive branch linking back to a past that neither of us particularly want to remember. Wow, that's big. I don't have any regrets, as every failed relationship teaches you a life lesson and makes you a little bit stronger. It helps you learn your limits and know your worth. Very true. I've had a few failed relationships since then and spent a big chunk of time alone, which is probably the happiest I've ever been. Highly recommend every woman does this at least once. Yeah, definitely. That is like the time that you really focus on yourself, so you feel really good about yourself, and then I think when you're in that space you really decide what you want out of your next relationship, because you're in such a good place that you just know that you can't let just anybody come in, because you've got your routine. And like, for example, if you don't drink the whole time and you feel so much better for it, then you're going to know in your next relationship you need somebody that they can still drink, but it's kind of on that same timeline with you, not somebody that's going to drag you out every weekend and kind of take you into old habits. Do you get me? She says, I'm now in a relationship with a funny, smart and kind man who I absolutely trust. I'd say I have more issues trusting women than men, which is crazy if you think about it. But it does make me wonder whether the thing that hurt them most was actually the idea that a woman could make another woman feel that bad about herself by being involved in cheating that hurt, rather than him cheating in itself. That is a very interesting take, and that's actually how her message ends. So let me know in the comments what you think. Do you think you would be more hurt by the woman, like a woman doing that to you, a girl on girl betrayal? I mean, it's definitely a mixture of both, but I do always say that there'd be more chance of me cheating on my boyfriend than me cheating on them, like being single and going with a married man. Like, I've spoken about that before, because it's just so against me. For that reason, I would just hate to do that to a woman that, you know, even with a boyfriend, but particularly somebody married. I just, that goes, oh, it goes so against everything I believe in. But a boyfriend too, if I'd known, like, if I knew somebody had a boyfriend, I would absolutely never go there. It also makes the boy less attractive, for sure. But yeah, I mean, you know, if the girl's single, then it is what it is. This is what happens. But I do think there's more good than bad out there. I just think that we don't always hear that. So if you do have examples of good love stories, good people, then please send them through. Remember to follow, like, subscribe if you're watching, listening. Help share the podcast, share the videos, because obviously, as I always say, the more people it gets to, then the more stories we get back, and hopefully we can get some nice ones, you know, to balance out the trauma that we go through. But this has still got a happy ending. Like, she's still free of him, and now she's with somebody great. So there's always a happy ending to them all. Okay, big news this week. Maya Jama and Stormzy are back together. Nature is healing. 2023 has finally given us something good. Just so nice. I feel like everybody's happy for them. We know nothing about their relationship, but collectively as a nation, we're all so happy for these two people that we don't know, including myself. I was really chuffed to see the news. Obviously, they got pictured in Greece on holidays, but it must have been happening for a long time before, and they're not just going to come out on their first date. So I delved into a little bit. Apparently it's been about a year after her engagement broke off, which obviously typical. Stormzy's heart was probably breaking when he saw that engagement ring on her finger. And he was probably like, as soon as this engagement's over, I am swooping in, because he's been so public, hasn't he, about how sorry he's been. Now, we don't know what's happened in the relationship. Obviously, there was rumours of infidelity. There was rumours he cheated on her with Georgia Smith, which, if that's not true, so rubbish for Georgia Smith, the singer, because people would just hate on it. It might not even be true, but we do know whatever it was his fault, because he said, he did an interview with Louis Theroux, which I watched, and he said, my breakup, that was definitely the biggest catalyst for growth as a man. It was like, okay, you made a mistake and you lose someone you loved, someone you cared for, someone who was special to you. That's the biggest loss a man can have. Away from passing away, that's the biggest loss you can have. It's sad. And he also said, like, in another interview, that he's never loved anyone like he loved her. And yeah, he's been doing it publicly, and he obviously had his chance to tell her and get back with her. I love as well, by the way, that TikTok knew before the newspapers. Before those pictures like came out, it was all over my TikTok. Stormzy and Maya are on holiday together, because he's posted this picture and Maya's posted this picture, and the trees in the background are the same. I was like, oh my god, people on TikTok, I love it. People on TikTok have so much time on their hands. But I think, right, now everybody's so happy for them, which is great, but he obviously did something bad enough for her to break up with him. They were together for 4 years, yeah, and I just think it's interesting, and I think it proves that every situation is different, because I feel like there's definitely usually a kind of bad stigma associated to people who forgive their partners for things. This isn't just cheating, this is for mistakes they make, for something they've said, for things they do, for treating them badly for 6 months and then they forgive them. I think there's always a stigma that, oh, you're being walked over and they've done this, they should pay for it. Which, okay, Stormzy did, because she broke up with him, fair enough. But it's almost like, if you're feeling this way about Stormzy and Maya Jama, you have to understand that not every situation is different. Sometimes people do make mistakes and they love the person so much, they're just human and they've made a mistake, and they you know, wanna get back. Like, I feel personally, now that I know anything about it, But I feel this way about Ashley Cole and Cheryl Cole. I'm sure I must have spoken about it before because now he's just got married, and I sent it to my friend because we always talk about it, and I was like, no, why? Because I truly believe, and I know nothing about it, so it's so stupid, but I'm just like, he obviously loved her, he just made those mistakes, and obviously she had to break up with him because he did it twice, which is just, oh, you arsehole. But it was clearly just timing, he was young, and I don't believe that he's changed for this new woman. I believe he was going to change anyway. The same with Stormzy. I think no matter who he got with, if Maya Jama never forgave him, he would be this person anyway. Because when you make those mistakes, as I say, if you hurt your partner, it's 9 times out of 10 reflection on you and how you're feeling and stuff. So, like he said himself, this is the biggest catalyst for growth, and he feels so different. He would never do that again because he's learned his lesson and because of how it's made him feel, etc, etc. So it doesn't matter who he'd go with next, he wouldn't do that, you know? And I think sometimes that's great, and it happens and people do change, but I think it's just forgotten about a lot in social media. It's always like when somebody shows you who they are the first time, walk away, and that's all well and good, and I'm not saying some of these stories that we get sent are horrendous and people don't deserve a second chance, absolutely, but sometimes people do just make a mistake. I've made mistakes before, and everyone does, and you'll always have somebody that says, yeah, but if he really loved her, he would never wanted to lose her in the first place. Fair enough, we never did want to lose her, and I always think, right, that these things happen for a reason, which sounds cliche, but if we go deeper than that, I think if somebody makes a mistake in a relationship or hurts another person in a relationship, I think there's 3 reasons for it. The first reason is that relationship was never meant to be, and they were meant to break up, go their separate ways, and find love elsewhere. That's the first reason. I think the second reason is because it needed to happen to mend the relationship. There was obviously something wrong in that relationship, or something wrong with that person, and they were going through something, which is why they acted out. And by bringing that to the front, then it's made the 2 people talk about it, and it can make the relationship better, because then you've got everything out in the open. Why did you do this? What's going on? You know, do you still want to be with me? But let's talk about it. And then the couple can change. And again, this isn't just romantic relationships, it's friendships as well. You know, you can be like, look, you just don't spend that much time with me anymore, and I wanted attention elsewhere. We don't do this enough, or I'm feeling shit about myself, that's why I did it, and I feel like I need to talk to you more about it. Whatever, like, it can be mended. And then I think the third reason is kind of similar to the second, but I think the third reason is it helps you as a person separately from the relationship. It helps you as a person grow, understand yourself, understand what you accept, what you won't accept. It'll show you how to overcome things and how you can overcome things. It can make you so much stronger because you'll be so surprised that you've got over it and you've been able to move past it. And I think it's a real big lesson, which Stormzy says as well. It's a real big lesson for you in life, and everything can always help you. Like she said in the story, everything can be better. That's a bad way of saying it. It's always good to come even from really bad things. You just need to look for it, you know, and try. I also am just a romantic, and I feel like if that's your person, no matter what, you know, like Beyonce says, nothing real can be threatened. And I think if that's what you're meant to be with, you will always find a way back. Just like Maya and Stormzy, and also Ben Affleck and J-Lo. Lest we forget those 2. Not that they're looking that happy, but I think Ben is just sick and tired of the paparazzi. But she pretty much said herself that she never stopped loving him, and then after all these years, they got back together and got married. This is so nice. So yeah, mistakes, they happen for good reason. Even though they hurt, I do think there's always some good behind them. Anyway, on that lovely note, I've got a nice love story to share, which I'm so excited about. These I absolutely love. We need them. If you've got a nice love story, please send them my way. Never think it's boring. we need them. We need these nice love stories to pick us back up, because I don't want anybody single listening to this, or people in a relationship that's going through a bad time to be like, fuck's sake, everyone, or guys, because usually it's girls that send it to me, all men are like this. No. So I've got a nice love story for us. Okay, she says, I've recently stumbled upon your podcast. I love it. It's like having a chat with the girls for an episode. So nice. Thank you very much. She said, I wanted to send you my love story with my fiance, soon to be husband. Our wedding is 9th of September after getting engaged in lockdown. So very soon. Congratulations. Okay, she said, I met my boyfriend at a party. I was 16 and he was 17. I was sat on the fence chatting to my friends and he came over to say hello. He didn't chat for too long and we added each other on Facebook the next day and said hello to each other in the corridors at school. Fast forward to my 20th birthday, after not hearing anything from him since then, I had a message from him on Facebook wishing me a happy birthday. From there we spoke every day, met up and had our first date. Again, love Facebook. I remember feeling so comfortable around him, like I'd known him my whole life, a feeling I had never had before in previous relationships. We were inseparable and became Facebook official and properly official 1 month later. Wow, 1 month, that's moving fast, well done. Lock that in. We moved in together a 1.5 years later and adjusted to not living with our parents. I had emergency spinal surgery in 2019 to remove a tumour compressing my spinal cord, a completely out of the blue diagnosis. Oh my word. This man was with me 12 hours a day at the hospital and was my biggest cheerleader when I had to relearn how to walk again during recovery. Oh my god, hope you're doing good now. Wow. They do say like the biggest test of relationships is health or death, or these really, really hard things, and that's amazing he was there with you all that time. Since then, my mental health has suffered with anxiety and depression, but I have finally turned a corner after therapy. Big up therapy, I love it. And he has been a rock throughout the process. I honestly don't know what I would have done to deserve him, or how I honestly don't know what I did to deserve him, or how I would have coped without him by my side. We have now been together 9 years. I am so excited to marry him and so proud that he will be my husband. I'm so lucky that I have found the one. So how lovely is that? Okay, to end, I want to talk about expectations, because have you seen the new And Just Like That? So And Just Like That, if you've been under a rock, is the new Sex and the City. I'm obsessed with Sex and the City. I went to see Carrie Bradshaw's house in New York and I was like fangirling over it, loved it. And then in And Just Like That, she was walking down the stairs and I was like, I've literally watched it like the day I came back, because I was awake midnight till 5 AM the day I came back. I think it was jet lag, anxiety, I don't know what. Anyway. And I was like, oh my god, I'm actually being there. I was so excited. Anyway, And Just Like That's finished. So this is maybe a little bit of spoilers. Actually, I'll talk about it more next week, probably. I'll weave it into another episode. But yeah, she has a dinner. I won't leave you any spoilers yet. She has a dinner and Carrie Bradshaw does a speech. And she asks everyone around the table to say one word what they want to let go of. So people say distrust, like nervousness, anything they want to let go of, right? And she says, I want to let go of expectations. Assuming things will go the way we think they should, for whatever reason, because you never know what tomorrow will bring and it might be greater than anything you ever expected. Which I loved. I think that's so true from my Aunt Stormzy's story. You'd never expect, I'm sure when she was with him and she was with him for life for those 4 years, I'm sure she never expected her story to be hurt by him, upset, and then engaged with somebody else, but then 4 years later going back to him. And it just shows you just never know what's going to happen. Same with the last story, as nice as that was. She had to go through huge life-changing surgery. And for a partner as well, that's not something you expect in your story, in your love story, but you just got to roll with it. And I always think that things work out, and as I always say, things happen for a reason. And I also think it's important to not listen to that end story and have expectations of a great love story like that, because that's part of the problem. You can't this is something I'm learning because I've always been such a massive romantic, but I always thought that, you know, a love story would be perfect and there's no ups and downs, and you know, it's just meant to be all great all the time. And I think that's just through years and years of all these love stories being thrown at us, and it's better to just let those expectations go, because your story is going to be different to anybody else's and there's going to be ups and downs. But from all the stories we've had, I think we have to remember that we're strong enough to go through it all. Definitely. Okay, I'm gonna wrap it up now. Quite a deep episode, I think, was it? I feel really out of the loop, guys, because I haven't recorded for so long. And honestly, 1-to-1, if you're still around, my camera is broken and I'm upside down. It's falling apart, it's hanging on by tape, and I can't see myself. I can only see it upside down, so I find that very off-putting. So, and I'm sat here in the middle of mess, so I feel a bit out of the loop, but yeah, hopefully that was okay. As always, let me know in the comments. You can also comment on the Spotify Q&A if you're listening there, and let me know what you thought. But please, 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 if you're not following already, please follow, subscribe, help me get the podcast out. I really would love nothing more than for this to just, you know, blow up. It's obviously my dream. Oh, also I've got a week off work this week, so I'm so happy about it, but I'm gonna get back to everybody's messages, so if you're waiting for a reply from me, expect it this week. I'm gonna sort my life out this week. Now, like, when I always do it when I have a move, maybe that's why I love moving so much. I'm always like, when I move into this new flat, I'm gonna do this, 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 this. I've made smoothies for myself every morning, and I just, when I make a smoothie, I feel like I'm getting my life together. I don't know why. I just find the two things marry really well. Anyway, okay, I'm gonna stop talking. Thank you so much for listening, for watching, and I'll speak to you next week.